Get ready for a wild ride through the brutal and unpredictable world of the Paris to Dakar Rally.
Oh, that's Carlos Sainz!
In 1977, a fearless young adventurer took on the challenge of competing in the Abidjan to Nice Rally. But what he encountered in the Sahara Desert would change his life and the course of motorsport forever. Join me as we delve into the grueling and dangerous moments that define the world's ultimate rally raid, where simply surviving takes priority over winning. We're going to get into the constant threat of failure, injury, disease, rebel militias, and terrorism, and the heart-wrenching loss of its legendary organizer, Thierry Sabine. Are you ready? Let's go. In the late 70s, long hair, too many cigarettes, bell-bottom pants, no satellite phones or navigation, and largely useless paper maps covering vast, uncharted swaths of the African desert. And inevitably, a young Thierry Sabine, later to be known as the megalomaniac of the sands, got lost while competing in the Abidjan to Nice Rally. He found himself and his XT500 alone and disoriented in the Sahara Desert in the south-central Sahara, around the Niger and Libya border, a situation that most would find terrifying and traumatizing. The young Sabine was in awe at the harsh, unforgiving terrain, and this accidental misadventure would change his life and the landscape of motorsport forever. After eventually cheating death and finding his way back to France, he dedicated his life to organizing the most dangerous, grueling, and both psychologically and mechanically challenging rally the world had ever seen. The Paris to Dakar Rally was born. Just over a year later, Thierry Sabine rounded up 182 competitors, a mix of cars, trucks, and motorcycles. And the day after Christmas in 1978, the first Oasis Rally, or what we now know as the Paris to Dakar, set off from the Trocadero at the foot of the Eiffel Tower, for the near 6,200-mile route through the Sahara to the west coast of Africa and the capital of Senegal, Dakar. That first year was all about the adventure and less about rankings and competition. These pioneering riders had very little idea of what they were getting into, and the vehicles were largely unmodified and woefully underprepared for what laid ahead, with around a quarter of the starting competitors dropping out after getting lost.
For some of the riders, exhausted after losing their way and riding in circles for such a long time,
and the rest succumbing to injury or mechanical failure, the 1978 event had already established its own legend, even before the race was over. Just 74 of the Sterling 182 made it all the way to Dakar, the first winner being Cyril Neveu. Neveu was riding a Yamaha XT500 and completed the race in a total time of 45 hours, 45 minutes. Neveu's victory in the inaugural rally established him as one of the greatest rally racers of his time. Today, he remains a revered figure in the world of rallying, and his victory will always be remembered as one of the greatest moments in motorsport history.
Sur ce rallye Paris Dakar départ.
The event immediately caught the attention of the global press and motorsport community. Thierry used his charisma and formidable public relations skills to turn the rally into one of the main events in the European sporting calendar, with global TV stations competing aggressively for broadcast rights to the event. Despite the event being plagued by controversy and criticism from the start, crossing some of the harshest and lawless terrain known to man, the following years through the 1980s saw the event attract elite racers and adventurers, as well as manufacturers and deep-pocketed sponsors alike, each year growing in size, sophistication, and reputation. Thierry Sabine sadly died as he lived, adventuring through the unforgiving African sand dunes in Mali, when the helicopter he was traveling in collided with a sand dune.
9 heures, envol de 2 hélicoptères pour Gourma.
A number of participants had criticized Sabine in that fateful 1986 event, accusing him of making the course too difficult, in an attempt to keep the global focus on the rally by increasing the danger and resulting drama each year. According to reports, the helicopter crash was a result of this overenthusiasm. Critics said he had made the event too difficult, not just for competitors, but ultimately for himself. The stage on the day of the helicopter crash was so difficult that many vehicles got stranded in the sand. Being the race organizer, Sabine was out searching for the missing competitors in the operations helicopter. And in high winds and poor visibility, they crashed into a 100-foot sand dune that was almost invisible in front of the backdrop of the night desert sky, killing Sabine and 4 of his companions, including the pilot. He died in the country he loved, at a rally which he created. His wish was that whatever happened to him, the race would continue, said Philippe Boursereau, a representative of Honda Motor Company, one of the sponsors of the rally. In the same 1986 competition, 2 competitors were killed in separate incidents. Yasuo Kaneko and Italian test rider Giampaolo Marinoni on his Lucky Cagiva. Following the death of Thierry, and despite the tragedy of the 1986 race, as per his wishes, the rally did continue, and remained largely true to its roots up until 1992. However, by this point, the political turmoil and rebel fighting in the region had escalated, and in the 1991 event, Charles Caban, a French support truck driver, was murdered by local rebel militias, drawing further criticism and negative press. Coupled with the absence of the charismatic Thierry pushing the boundaries of the Dakar, competitor numbers and global interest began to wane.
Green was not a colour normally associated with previous Dakars, but the opening of South Africa's borders to international sportsmen meant that this year, the Dakar now became the Paris-Cape Town Rally.
In an effort to rejuvenate interest, the 1992 event permitted the use of GPS navigation, and the original route was changed to finish in Cape Town, South Africa, instead of Dakar. And then, 1995 was the first year the race didn't start in Paris, favoring Granada in Spain. This really saw the end of the Dakar of old. It had by this point become more corporate, controlled by sponsors, and acted as a proving ground for manufacturers to test and advertise their brands, becoming commercialized much like other motorsport in the late 90s. Throughout the 2000s, the event saw a variety of different routes, with starting points in Lisbon, Portugal, and also finishing at the pyramids of Giza in Egypt to mark the new millennium.
Yes, the world of motorsport is in shock today after the reported cancellation of the Dakar Rally, which was due to start on Sunday, after major security concerns over the event's route through Mauritania.
In 2008, the Dakar had to be cancelled completely, as French authorities uncovered a plot by Al-Qaeda to target the event. This followed the foiling of another plot to kidnap competitors in 2004. It became a contentious subject of geopolitics, and from 2009 was permanently moved out of Europe and Africa to South America, taking place in Chile, Bolivia, and Argentina. 2020 saw the event move to Saudi Arabia, and in 2022 became the first time in its history was a sanctioned FIA event. Despite its various reincarnations, the 2023 Dakar was the longest since 2014 and considered the toughest in its history, battling through 900,000 square miles of desolate Saudi desert. What do you think? Would Thierry have approved of how the race has changed and his enduring legacy? Let me know in the comments. Aside from the seemingly total insanity of the terrain and inhospitable environment that the Dakar covers, the other thing that makes it entirely unique is the vast array of different vehicles. The 5 main classifications are UTVs, essentially small utility vehicles and side-by-sides. Quads. 3 different subcategories of cars, including dune buggies and smaller SUVs. Motorcycles, and colossal 4x4 trucks that can weigh more than 7,500 pounds. The truck race generally follows its own special course, and is a marvel of engineering and human endurance in its own right. Each category must follow strict engine power and configuration rules, as well as other standard race direction and safety regulations. Destroying your vehicle is a routine and expected part of competing in the Dakar, even for the multi-million-dollar factory-sponsored pros. The sheer hell of the terrain pushes every nut, bolt, and gasket of a vehicle to and beyond its operating limits. These rugged desert conditions often result in mechanical failure, and if you don't have the luxury of being a factory-backed team, that means wrenching and repairing your vehicle yourself, either out on the course or after an impossibly exhausting 500-mile-plus day of competition. The Dakar has seen numerous records set over its 40-plus events. In 1991, French competitor Stéphane Peter Hansel won his first Dakar on a Yamaha motorcycle, and repeated the feat in 92, 93, 95, 97, and 98. In 2004, he became the first to win on both a motorcycle and in a car. A feat he repeated several times, earning him the most wins in both categories. KTM has absolutely dominated the motorcycle class since 2001, winning every event until 2019, and then again in 2023. In the truck category, Vladimir Chagin holds the record with 7 wins, achieved between 2000 and 2011. In the quad class, Marcos Petronelli leads with 3 wins in 2010, 2013, and 2016. Yamaha holds the quad manufacturer title, winning all 11 events from 2009 to 2019. Dakar's also served as a testing ground for manufacturers, leading to the creation of some truly exceptional purpose-built machines. The Dakar style has influenced production models too, particularly in the adventure bike segment, which has become crucial for brands like BMW and KTM. BMW's first GS was actually created for the Dakar, with its tall windscreen and navigation tower becoming a popular aesthetic in the production segment. What do you think? Are you ready to take on the Dakar? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching. If you like this video, subscribe for more automotive content like this, and thanks again for everyone's support.